Hello everybody, welcome to the Robot Rampage League. It is week 9. How is everybody doing in the chat? I see new names in the chat this week. Welcome everybody. Kuora? I'm not even going to try to pronounce the rest of that. Welcome Burnout and Joe and Razor259 and Blackbird and Tamabris. Hello everybody. It has been a fun week dealing with all the judges' decisions we had last week. Oh man. Very nice shirt that I have. Yeah, I'm wearing another heavy metal shirt because that's my team. Thanks to everyone in the RRL build chat. Yes, we have people chatting in the Discord server getting robots functioning for Season 2. So, let's talk about last week. This was the results from last week, and there's a number of things to note here. First and foremost, there's the two complete shutouts in the top of the screen. Stormlab and Armchair Engineers totally shut out. Meta got just the second perfect week of the whole season so far. 4 straight knockouts, the maximum number of points. Also worth noting is the Robot Rebels versus Hive and down at the bottom Orlando versus River City were only saved from total shutouts by a single point from a judge's decision. Very, very close to having 4 shutouts in a week. The big story, though, aside from all of the judges' decisions, is the bottom right with the Mantines beating Sinister. I think Moscow is ranked like 12th or 13th in the league, and Sinister was the number 1 team, and they totally upset them. It was a really, really surprising result. Judges' decision. We had 10 of them. That's the most we've had in a single week so far. They're all pretty reasonably one-sided. I think the closest we had was the Spike 6 and Cinnamon 27 or 23, but Siege did lose to Explicit Equation, so Explicit Equation is still undefeated, 8-0, but it no longer has KOs in every one of its fights. It had its perfect record ruined. Bigger story, though, is the standings. Sinister Creations was just 2 points ahead of 5th place going into last week, and they lost big time to the Mantines and fell all the way to 5th. According to my notes, that is the biggest drop, or the biggest change in position of any team during the entire league so far, even counting the first week. Nobody has moved 4 spots in a week, and just like that, Sinister Creations has gone from leading their division to no longer in a playoff spot. So it's only the top 4 of each division that make the playoffs. So that was a huge loss for them. They are facing the Armchair Engineers this week, so they're probably going to get a lot of points back, but that was a big blow to their hopes. The other thing that I wanted to point out with the judges' decisions, and this is something that my brother Burnout has dug up in the points, Heavy Metal Robotics, heavyweight robot, the Vacuity, has had 4 judges' decisions in 8 weeks so far, which means that because the robot is so difficult to kill and it goes to 3 minutes so much, they've prevented the other team from getting as much as 10 points this season. So it's not just important for robots to win fights and gain points, but Heavy Metal is taking advantage of defense to prevent the other teams from getting points themselves, and that's definitely helping Heavy Metal hold on to that 2nd place in Division 1. But you guys are here to see robots fight, so let's get to the robot fighting. Tamabris, I see your super chat. Question: what is the most hilarious quote you have heard on a live television broadcast? I'm not going to say that just yet because I'm very early in the stream, and that's when YouTube is the most unfriendly about saying dirty things. So I'm not going to answer that just yet, but I'll let everybody else in the chat answer that. That's not the one that I'm in the wrong game, aren't I? I am. I have 2 different installs of Robot Arena 2, and one of them has the Robot Rampage League and the other one doesn't. There's the League's arena. Okay. Let's get started with Stormlab. And who's the other team that's facing Stormlab? It is team number 6, which I believe is Heavy Metal Robotics. I am dressed appropriately for this match. Okay. First fight of the stream, we have the lightweights, Firestarter and Voidwalker. Both of them are kind of 360-degree horizontal spinners. Firestarter's is asymmetric with a single tooth, and Voidwalker has 3 teeth to it. Neither of them are invertible, but Firestarter can self-right. So, leave your predictions for this battle of the Spider-Man meme, people pointing at each other. Almost mistyped Voidwalker as Void Water. Fair. Void Water sounds like a flavored drink that's just colored jet black. Lots of people going with Voidwalker in this one. Let's see how it turns out. Well, they're both up to speed. Firestarter's faster, but Voidwalker lopped the weapon off in a single blow. How about that? I was not expecting that. Firestarter had the reach, but it exposed that extender, and Voidwalker lopped it right off. But Firestarter's kind of swinging counterbalance is actually breaking teeth off of Voidwalker now. It's at the perfect height. There goes the second one. So if Voidwalker loses its weapon here, it's not going to be able to do anything back to Firestarter, and Firestarter still has that swinging sledgehammer head. They're both unbalanced as hell. Oh, Voidwalker got a wheel, though. That's going to be big. And he's got control board hits. So this could be, it's a knockout. 59 seconds. There we go. First knockout of the stream. American Killjoy and Justin Cisneros are in the chat. Hello. Bunch of drunks stumbling in an alley. That was pretty similar to what it was like. Alright, so that is a quick 3 points to Heavy Metal. And now we get to go to Heavy Metal's Multibot in the middleweights. So, for the middleweights, we have Sludge, a very fast and hyper-aggressive rammer for Stormlab, and Heavy Metal has Heartbreak and Seance, a multi-bot team. Heartbreak has the piston-poking weapon, Seance has the rear-hinged flipper. In order to get extra points against a multi-bot, you have to knock out or TKO both robots. It's not a 50-50 thing like real-life robots has been. So, predictions for Sludge versus Heartbreak and Seance. People predicting a Sludge Fest. Sludge has not thrown itself out of the arena in a while, but Seance is a pretty good wedge, and Heartbreak is pretty short, so it's possible. The power of teamwork. I think they've... Oh no, I think it was Axis and Allies that KO'd each other previously. Let's see how it goes. Sludge going for Seance first. It's about 3 times bigger than both of these robots put together. It's almost going to knock itself over just running into the wall on its own. I was not predicting that Sludge would spend its fight just dancing on top of them, but that appears to be its strategy. It's sort of working. It's getting the multibots to kind of like collide with each other. Although Seance did get a decent shot in there. Sludge is just throwing itself all over the place and then getting confused as to where it's ended up, and the multibot is just like struggling to catch up with it. Although Sludge is doing quite a bit of damage to Seance so far. I think it's Seance that's doing the most damage to Sludge anyway. Heartbreak's not really able to get in there. Oh, there's the weapon broken off of Seance, so the rear hinge flipper's gone. It's just a wedge now. The only way that Heartbreak and Seance have to score damage is the piston poker on the front of Heartbreak, or to get Sludge into the grinder, but it's taken enough damage that little guys are going to get the KO. That was 114 left. Trying to think how many seconds that would be. I think that's 46 plus 60. It's 106 seconds. Little robots that could. And combined, they totaled slightly more damage than Sludge did. 116 seconds, excuse me. Well, alrighty then. Heavy Metal up 6-0. They really showing why they have that second place spot in the first division. Oh. Cutie is all the way down here. So now we have Microburst, a piston poker with 6 pistons with spikes on them, against Vacuity, which has an overhead battle axe. I mentioned before, Vacuity's got a lot of defensive features on the front, and it likes to take things to judges' decisions. Microburst has been doing very poorly this season. It's not invertible. It's easy to get under it. So Vacuity just might be able to weather the storm of blows from the pistons and get Microburst over and take a TKO win. But we will see how things go. What is your predictions? Cutie going to take it to a judge's decision. It's very good at that. Cutie's axe might actually be the best option here. Could be. Or Microburst could go right up its wedge and knock the axe right off. We don't know. Let's see how it turns out. Lots of people going for both Vacuity and Microburst. It's pretty split in the chat. Microburst getting those shots in. Vacuity's axe does not have the reach to get to Microburst's chassis. Ooh, and Microburst getting some shots on that wheel. Not able to take it off, though. And Vacuity's axe just cannot get anywhere close to those pistons. It's just missing constantly. There's a wheel off now. Some spikes coming off of Microburst from those defensive spike features on the front of Vacuity. Oh, he's going for the other wheel now. I just love that the pistons shoot out and before the axe comes down, retract, and Vacuity can't hit anything. Oh, Microburst down to just 2 piston spikes remaining. And the axe broke off on the front of Microburst on those static spikes. So Vacuity is weaponless. It's lost a lot of some of its defensive armor up front. It's lost a wheel. Microburst is totally in control here. Oh, and it got the other wheel. That is Game over for Vacuity. It's just a matter of waiting for Microburst to leave it alone enough to get counted out. Which would be smart for Microburst to do, because Microburst has not gotten very many wins. They need to take a win when they can get it. Although I understand the desire to get a KO and get the full 3 points. I don't think they're going to manage the full 3 points with that lone remaining spike. They're trying, though. They got a full minute. Oh, what? They knocked the whole extender and all the spikes off the back of Vacuity. Okay. Oh, no! That was so close to the end of the fight, and then we ended up having to restart it. That's not cool. And I can't just call the fight, because if Microburst is trying to get the KO, I have to let it. Well, here we are. Vacuity trying to get that axe into play. Microburst just trying to punch through the defense in the front of Vacuity. It took its toll on Microburst's weapon the first time that they tried this. Vacuity just covered in defensive features. There goes the axe much earlier this time. And they've lost 3 of their spikes all at once. Okay. So Microburst breaking their fist on Vacuity's face here. Vacuity's just going to act like a dustpan and scoop them all up. Make it easier to clean up, I guess. Smart strategy by Vacuity turning around and letting Microburst attack the rear spikes. It's kind of distributing the damage across all ends of Vacuity instead of breaking off any one part. Oh, but that's a bad idea, leaving your wheels exposed. It's got Microburst over in the corner. It could get some damage here with the corner grinder, but doesn't follow through on it. And there goes all of Microburst's piston spikes. So it's down to just the 2 static ramming spikes and those defensive features on the corners. This is down to a pushing match. They both have the same drive power, but I think Vacuity's got the better geometry for this. Oh, one of 2 of the spikes have been broken off the corners of Vacuity. Okay. So Microburst doing some work on those corners and finally getting those defensive spikes off. And getting some chassis damage on the corners of Vacuity here. This goes to the judges, which I think that it will. This will definitely influence their decisions here. Looks like Microburst has the pushing power, but not the geometry. Oh, wow! Vacuity backed its wheel into those tiny rear spikes on the back of Microburst, and it actually knocked it clean off. Okay. That makes it pretty conclusive, I feel, who's going to end up taking this decision. But that is another judge's decision that Vacuity gets, and yet again denies the other team a potential 3 points. Vacuity doing some work with its defense to just push judges' decisions repeatedly. It is super heavyweights time, and that means Oregano, the double vertical hammer spinner for Stormlab against Aqua Dementia, the still undefeated 8-0 side-hinged flipper for a heavy metal. What are your predictions for this one? Oregano is not invertible. But it has shown when fighting flippers that it still does a lot of damage with that spinner while it's getting tossed around. Aqua Dementia's unbeaten run could be in danger. Yeah, this could be a case where Aqua Dementia flips Oregano over and then takes a lot of hits from the spinner. And we've actually seen Oregano get underneath other robots with the spinner too, so pretty split, but I think people are generally leaning towards Aqua Dementia here. Somebody mentioned that Heavy Metal has won the match. They have. They were up 6 to a maximum of 1, and there's only 3 more points available. So Stormlab cannot win this match, but can they claw back some points here and stop the undefeated Aqua Dementia in the process? Well, it's a big hit to the front of Aqua Dementia, but Aqua's got Oregano up, but not over. And now those flipping arms exposed to that big spinner on the front of Oregano. One of them lopped off cleanly. And now Oregano totally flipped over, and it's going to get flipped sort of back upright. Oh, Aqua Dementia got crammed under the grinder. That did a lot of damage. One hammerhead off. Control board hits. Oregano over, but it got a KO. So Aqua Dementia running into the corner grinder did a lot of the damage, and Oregano was able to finish it off. So there you go. The undefeated super heavyweight Aqua Dementia has fallen in Week 9. It took until the midpoint of the season for it to happen. But it happened. There's just the 2 remaining middleweights as undefeated. So that is 6-3 with 1 point outstanding, which is probably going to go to Stormlab. So 6-4 probably the results of this match. All right, up next we have Indiana. And team number 3 is the Robot Rebels. So this is Indianapolis versus Detroit. Lost to a robot that was upside down. Hey, a lot of robots that have fought Rabid Fox have done the same thing. They get it turned over, and then all the spinners are just resting on top of them, and they lose it. So, for Indiana Robotics Alliance, we have X Factor, a low-slung horizontal spinner. For the Robot Rebels, we have Overclock, which is a piston poker that's in a slight wedge shape. And according to my notes, Overclock is one of only 3 robots in the entire league that is 7-1. Only a single loss that Overclock has had. What are your predictions for X Factor and Overclock? Number 3 and number 4 teams in Division 2 here is what Burnout says. Stephen Kim wants to tell a joke. Go right ahead. A lot of people leaning towards X Factor, so let's see what X Factor has for Overclock, if they can get that spinner in. Or if Overclock can punch right through to that motor. Oh, X Factor is going to get to the side, and it knocks the whole weapon off the front of Overclock. So Overclock weaponless, and now X Factor going to aim at those wheels now too. That was very quick and decisive attack by X Factor to start. Already on control board hits for Overclock. This is not going to last much longer, I don't think. And it is over. 34 seconds. Very convincing win for Indiana. And a quick 3 points. Simon Cowell would be pleased. He's never pleased. So, middleweight time. We have the Iron Curtain for Indiana Robotics Alliance, a big wall of armor panels with a piston poker. For the Robot Rebels, we have Dramatic, which is a vertical spinner in the vague shape of a drum. Dramatic is not very fast, and it's not invertible. The Iron Curtain is also not invertible. Both of these robots are struggling, if I remember correctly, but who do we think? Are we going for offense or defense here with our predictions? Lots of people leaning in forward of Dramatic. Bot 001 says Iron Curtain knows it's a bad bot, but my inner 10-year-old goes squee. Yes, inner 10-year-olds are the whole reason why robot combat exists in the first place. Everybody going with Dramatic. Let's see if Dramatic can live up to the hype here. It has a lot of armor to get through. Or it can just turn the Iron Curtain up on its backside. It could do that too. So this is looking like a pretty easy TKO here for Dramatic, unless it turns Iron Curtain back over. And now Iron Curtain can get that piston in, actually, facing the direction that it is. So maybe Dramatic is going to go around to the other side. Interesting that Dramatic's weapon is acting both like a drum and like a rotary flipping device here. This was going to grind away at the bottom of the Iron Curtain. Why is my nose so itchy? That's a TKO count. Iron Curtain cannot move from that position. This is going to be an official TKO. And that is 63 seconds. So Dramatic gets 2 wins or 2 points back for the Robot Rebels, but they still trail 3-2. As we move to the heavyweights. Now we have Second Amendment for Indiana Robotics Alliance. It's a fast, aggressive rammer. Its spikes are sort of pointed downwards. The Robot Rebels have Zika, which is a 3 rear-hinged flipper robot. No damaging components on Zika, but it has gotten some ring out victory so far, and Second Amendment is basically a heavyweight version of Sludge. So how do we think this one is going to go? Zika, Spice Girls joke? Yes, definitely a Spice Girls joke and not a reference to a virus. Lots of people predicting Zika, some predicting Zika to get an UDA. Let's see if that happens here. Let's see if we get a Sludge Fest out of Second Amendment. Oh, it got hung up on one of Zika's side plows. Zika's going to turn it over straight on the wall. Now, Zika does have an issue in some of its fights getting those flipping arms out of sync, but it's not really causing it too much trouble so far. In fact, it's just tossing Second Amendment around like it's nothing. If they can get it over near a wall and get all the flipping arms in sync, it might be able to get it over. But for the time being, they are not in sync. And they are taking damage. One of them is broken off. Second Amendment just going to drive over the grinder like it's not there. Another flipping arm broken off now, so just one remaining. All those offensive and defensive components on Second Amendment are just gradually breaking away the flipping arms of Zika, and now he's got his spikes back into place. So that's all the flipping arms gone off of Zika. It's just a wedge. Second Amendment, of course, upside down, can drive inverted. but it is marginally less effective that way. It got Zika back into the grinder. It's gotten itself into the grinder. And Zika needs to get Second Amendment into the grinders is what it needs to do. And Second Amendment is just too quick for it and just keeps backing away. Oh, there's the last plow off. Almost tried to park Zika on top of it, but that would have been an amusing way to go out. Pushes Zika back into the grinder. Ooh, control board hits. That was a big blow. Second Amendment got to be careful he doesn't drive himself out of the ring, because Zika is still basically a skate ramp at this point. 30 seconds to go in the fight. If Zika can last these last 30 seconds, they can stop Second Amendment from getting too many points, but it's on one more control board hit. That's it. It's a KO. There's, what, 24 seconds left? So that's... I gotta do math in my head. 156. So there you go. You can stop Zika with the Second Amendment, apparently. That's how that works. So now it is super heavyweight time. Indiana has won the match. They are up 6-2, and there's only 3 more points maximum available. So it is up to Heart Attack, the fast rammer, to try to get some points back for the Rebels. It's up against Black Widow, which has a vertical drill spinner on the front and a lot of defensive work on the sides. Who do we predict for Heart Attack and Black Widow? Both of them are deadly things to have going on in your life. Black Widow having a heart attack. Heart Attack. Lots of people going with Heart Attack on this one. Well, let's see if Heart Attack has what it takes. Black Widow's weapon has proven pretty vulnerable to other robots. Heart Attack wasting no time shoving Black Widow towards the grinder, but not actually getting it into the grinder. Oh, but Black Widow takes one of the wedges off the front of Heart Attack. Both of the wedges. So now Heart Attack without the wedging advantage. And Black Widow's going to push Heart Attack now. So I think that's one spike off of, 2 spikes off of Black Widow's weapon now. So the front defensive features of Heart Attack proving damaging, but Black Widow is tearing those off. Okay, Heart Attack, that was interesting. Is that a physics problem? Do we have to restart? I'm going to leave that up to Burnout to determine for me. That to me looked like wheel physics. Well, Heart Attack is going to leave Black Widow upside down here for a TKO win with a minute 27 left, so it's 93 seconds. Everybody's saying that was not a physics glitch. I'm inclined to agree with that one. It was very strange, but I don't think it was a physics glitch. So Heart Attack with the TKO. Using its drive power to turn both of them over. The Rebels lose the match. They win the fight, but they lose the match 6-4. 6 points is okay, but it's only really good for kind of the middle of the table so far. So the Rebels winning that fight was very important to stopping Indiana from getting any further in the standings. Next match time is Team 13, the Orlando Commandos, and Team 16, Team Smash. Right. So, Orlando has airtime in the lightweights, a piston flipper. In Robot Arena 2, pistons don't work the way they do in real life. They are missing some of the laws of physics. So, like, they apply force to the robot when they retract, but not when they extend. So, like, it's difficult for airtime to right itself. And they apply less force to actually flip other robots over. It's fighting Bubblegum from Team Smash, which is a fast rammer. It's not invertible, I don't believe. It can kind of move if its wheels alternate touching the ground, but if it gets settled, I don't think it can move. So, a non-invertible bot against a flipper. How do we think this will go? Team Smash should have named their bots after Super Smash Bros. Characters. Could have done a Super Smash Bros. Themed team. That's true. Anybody who wants to try for Season 2 of the Robot Rampage League could do such a thing. Number of people going for airtime. Airtime is the least damaging robot in the entire league, so let's see if airtime can handle Bubblegum here. Oh, what a flip! Used Bubblegum's momentum against it. Bubblegum was able to recover, and it was able to recover again just by backing up hard enough to bounce back upright. It's way more agile than airtime. We've seen airtime get counted out just by not having enough battery power to move. It was able to right itself there. Bubblegum goes for a ram and gets tossed instead. This is a pretty even stalemate so far. It managed to almost knock airtime over, and airtime's put it upside down against the wall. And if airtime leaves it alone, Bubblegum will stay inverted, but he doesn't. And now airtime's under, or Bubblegum's under airtime and going to run it into the wall. That is where Bubblegum needs to continue to press its advantage and not give airtime a chance to flip it over. Oh, airtime drives into the grinder, and it's going to take a ton of damage trying to turn around. Misfired flip that didn't do anything. And Bubblegum trying to get around those flippers and kind of get to the side so it can wrench airtime over onto its side. Or it could just go in for a big ram. Airtime trying to go with the strategy of letting Bubblegum come in and then flip it and let its momentum take it wherever. Oh, it managed to get Bubblegum up this time. And it's got it pressed against the wall. This could be the TKO if airtime leaves it alone. Yes. Airtime going to back up and let the TKO count go. All right, 121 seconds. And that is 2 points for Orlando with the least damaging robot in the league. Just goes to show it's not all about damaging or weapon power. If you got the right type advantage, you can absolutely win fights and get points. Which is part of the reason we have a rule requiring multiple weapon types on each team. There goes the game. Crashing, because that's what the game does. Hey, Burnout. Did American Killjoy leave the room again? Okay, we are back with the middleweights. We have Q, a sit and spin, which just kind of sits and spins on the spot, lets the other robot attack for Orlando. And Team Smash has Planetary Conqueror, a very fast and aggressively driven wedge with an overhead bar spinner across the top. Planetary Conqueror has been really good. Q has been better. Q is another one of the robots that is 7-1 and only lost a single time. So what are the predictions for this one? Q, something that cannot be done with social distancing. That is correct. Watch your Qs, don't wait in them. Can we get a tutorial on how to get RA2 to work? Ask in the Discord server. We have 2 Robot Rampage League discussion channels there. There are a lot of people that understand how the game works very well, and they can help you out with your specific problems. I know Robot Arena 2 behaves differently on everybody's machines, so what might be the problems I have might not be what you have. So let's go and get this fight started in the wrong arena. And then we're just going to change that and actually get it started. There we go. Planetary Conqueror getting up to speed. It can get those weapons into Q's chassis and get some big hits on the top of Q. Q, of course, tearing up Planetary Conqueror's wedge. So it's a matter of who's doing more chassis damage to the other. Planetary Conqueror's got the reach, though, and it is hitting Q's wheels. Oh, Q on control board hits. I think Planetary Conqueror got the KO. There it is, 31 seconds. So this is 2 examples that we've seen now. Previously with Falcon Punch and Chemical X, and now with Planetary Conqueror and Q. The way to beat these sit-and spinners is not to go through them, it's to go over the top of them and just have a lot of reach with the weapon. And so that is Team Smash taking the lead in the match 3-2. Okay, so 2 of the better and more destructive robots in the heavyweights. We have Drillosaurus for Orlando, which is 3 kind of vertical drill spinners on the front. It is also 7-1. Team Smash has Bioshocker, which is a double vertical disc spinner. This is going to be, Burnout just said it in the chat, this is going to be a bloodbath. There's going to be a lot of damage points scored in this fight. So let me know what you guys predict what the outcome will be. Blackbird missed that last fight. It was a pretty straightforward fight. It wasn't anything special. At the end of the season, can we get random arena battle royales? We might do that for the final week, because the last week of the league is week 17 is the last week of the regular season, and then the week after that we're going to have the playoffs and the finals. And so if it's a short stream, yeah, we might just do fantasy matchups. Although by that point, every robot will have fought every other robot in their own weight class, so it might be like 2-on-2 type of matches or something. Pretty even split between Drillosaurus and Bioshocker here. So, let's see who comes out with the win here. I don't expect it to go 3 minutes, that's for sure. So Drillosaurus and Bioshocker just kind of touching tips with the weapons and the defensive spikes on the front of Bioshocker. Although Drillosaurus has lost most of the spikes off its center drill Bioshocker's gotten high-centered on those spikes. Okay, it's able to get free. Drillosaurus not able to get through the defensive spikes yet, but it's damaging the weapon motors, and that could be crucial. Bioshocker's gotten through that disc on the center drill, but it's backed itself into the grinder and lost a wheel now. So Bioshocker's crippled here, and it's totally up to Drillosaurus how it attacks this thing now. It's just going to try and drill away at those corners and go through those defensive spike features, which is going to do a lot of damage to Drillosaurus' own weapons. It's knocked a whole weapon off of Bioshocker, who's got to break a count here, and it's struggling to do so. It managed to. It's upended Drillosaurus, who's lost all the weapons and then gotten yeeted away. I'm going to have to restart that one. Once one of those motors comes off, it kind of leaves a physics bomb in the floor, and when the robots drive over it, it just throws them around. Oh, Drillosaurus with a driving mistake and put its wheels in harm's way. So, Bioshocker going to focus on that center drill. It's taken all the spikes off of it right away. Taken basically no damage itself. Now Drillosaurus doing damage to those weapon motors on Bioshocker. And Bioshocker can't really get into the chassis of Drillosaurus with that disc still in place. The right side weapon off of Bioshocker now. And Drillosaurus going to just drive through and knock the other one off. So Bioshocker weaponless. Drillosaurus still has two mostly complete drills here. Bioshocker going with the pin and hope the judges consider that aggression strategy at the moment. There's still 2 minutes left in the fight. Most of Bioshocker's right side defensive spikes are gone. But it's able to get right under Drillosaurus and just shove it around, no problem. And those defensive spikes will do damage each time it runs into Drillosaurus, so not totally out for Bioshocker just yet. Especially if it can get Drillosaurus onto the grinder. We've seen a number of robots win fights that they were well behind in by pushing their opponent into the grinder. Drillosaurus with those big wheels way out to the side, though, is really good at getting away from these pushing attacks. It's lost a wheel now, but Bioshocker is on control board hits, so it's not much longer until Bioshocker's out of this fight. 1 minute remaining. Bioshocker trying to get Drillosaurus into the grinder. Oh, there goes the last of the defensive spikes on the right side. Drillosaurus unable to do anything about Bioshocker pushing into it. It's just got to hope that Bioshocker hits those weapons, and it does. 45 seconds remaining on the clock, and Drillosaurus finally gets the KO. That was a really determined effort by Bioshocker at the end there. Lose its weapons that early and still put up that much of a fight. That was a really good showing. Why is my nose so itchy? Is it AI or player controlled? This is all AI controlled so that we don't have internet connection issues or biasing from people, so it's totally fair. So that is now Orlando up 5-3 with one fight remaining. So Smash can still win this if they get a KO in the super heavyweights. Bio deserves a complimentary point for the fight. Yeah, that was a good fight. That might end up being a candidate for Fight of the Week, which we have a Robot Rampage Twitter account at Robot Rampage, and we put up a poll every week for what you guys think the Fight of the Week is. You can vote on it. It will be highlighted as in the highlights video as the Fight of the Week, what you guys decide on. So for the Super Heavyweights, we have Abrin, 4 spiked axes, not invertible, and Id, which is 4 racks of spikes on pistons. It has been extremely aggressive and destructive so far for Team Smash. They do need a knockout to win the match. So they are relying on id's destructive power, but Aberrin has a lot of power on its own. It can get knockouts in just a few hits. Lots of people siding with id on this one. Not sure if Aberrin can get a clean hit on id's chassis. Yeah, there's a lot of gap between the front of those spikes and id's chassis, so Aberrin would have to get right in its face to hit it, probably. Number of people going with Aberrin, too. Let's see how it turns out. Aberrin not with a whole lot of defensive features up front. Oh my goodness, it lopped off most of the spikes right away, and now it's going at the top of id. They've both taken a tremendous amount of damage already. Id is just pounding away at Aberrin. It's got it over to the grinder, and Aberrin not able to get those axes down onto id just yet. Now it's making some contact, but it's sitting on top of the grinder, and it's lost a wheel, so Aberrin minus a wheel and on the grinder. I think it's getting counted out, and it can't really get off because its other wheel's off the ground. I think that's a TKO, but I'm going to leave it up to... I don't know if that counts as a pin. Do we think that counts as a pin? Because id was not exactly giving Aberrin a chance to get off of the grinder if it could. It was high-centered on the grinder, so no. I'm leaning towards no, because when Aberrin did rest down on the ground, its wheel was still off of the ground, so... I think that's a TKO for id. Aberrin couldn't move, not really a pin, that was a pin. I'm leaning towards not a pin because Aberrin did come down on that one side that it does have a wheel, but the wheel was not touching the ground. That was a very aggressive match. How many time units was that? How many seconds? Burnout. Expected Aberrin to cut those spikes on id way faster. Yeah, it got the top ones, but Aberrin, when it makes contact, lifts itself into the air because it's got so much hammer power coming down. And it's kind of what the wedges are for. The wedges are supposed to hold it down when it's under the other robot, but 34 seconds, thank you. But yeah, that was... they both did a ton of damage to each other in a very short amount of time. It was a very fast but very good fight. Okay, moving on to our next match. Oh, so that ties the match, by the way. It's 5-5 tie, so nobody gets the bonus point for winning the match overall. And up next is two of the top teams in the league. Meta, #1 in Division 2, and HIVE, #1 in Division 1. Meta has Uglybot in the lightweights. It's a piston poker that I think is invertible, sort of invertible. HIVE has Jinx, a side-hinged flipper. What are the predictions for Uglybot versus Jinx? Lots of people going with Uglybot for this one so far. Let's see what happens. Uglybot bouncing on the floor and Jinx getting under and tossing it right away. But Uglybot's weapon is kind of on that taller side of Jinx at the moment and will not go up the wedge. Jinx kind of is threatening to hit that extender with that side-hinged flipper and knock the weapon off. But it's just going to settle for tossing Uglybot over. Uglybot trying to get at those wheels with that piston spike. Ooh, Did get a couple of good shots on the wheel there. Jinx now underneath Ugglybot, but not enough to get that flipper into play. And Ugglybot is doing damage to Jinx chassis. Jinx is actually not flipping it, which is an interesting choice of strategy. Okay then, Jinx. I think Ugglybot is flipped over upside down, and the way that the AI is coded in this game for some reason is if a robot is upside down, the flipping AI won't flip it. I think that's what was happening there. So it's got Ugglybot right side up now, and it is attacking, and it's knocked off the whole piston weapon. Okay, so Ugglybot weaponless now, and Jinx kind of has free reign to attack it if it can get under. Ugglybot has the better drive power, but it's not able to do anything with it because Jinx is a wedge. And if it's not careful, Jinx is going to put it into a grinder at some point. Or it's going to park it on its end. Jinx could do that too. I don't think Ugglybot has traction on its end like that. It does not. And Jinx is going to take the TKO, the easy TKO here. Hey, American Killjoy popped back into the chat. Welcome. 36 seconds remaining on the clock. And a TKO win for Jinx, managing to flip over an invertible robot. So that was a really clever way to win that fight for Jinx and Team Hive. They take the lead with 2 points. How are we going to settle tied matches in the playoffs? We don't know yet. We'll discuss that. Right. Moving on to the middleweights, we have Gizmo. And this is Team 12 meta. Creighton. Creighton is undefeated 8-0. It's 4 rear-hinged flippers. Gizmo for Hive is a little bit like Sludge. It's a very, very fast and aggressive 4-wheel drive invertible rammer. Gizmo has been known to go over the top of wedges and out of the arena on its own. So, who do we predict to win this one? Damn, my nose is so itchy. It's so dry in here. Everyone leaning towards Creighton for this one. I swear I saw American Killjoy asked a question. Alright, let's see if Gizmo stays in the arena. It does. It spun out completely, and Creighton has tossed it over. And is taking control of the fight because Gizmo is unable to get its bearings before Creighton can get in there with those flipping arms. Now, importantly, if Creighton's flipping arms get out of sync, Gizmo does have the spikes, enough damaging potential there to break them off. So Creighton does need to be careful here. But it also will have no problem knocking Gizmo over and tossing it out of the ring if it gets close enough. And Gizmo's going to take advantage of Creighton knocking itself over to ram it in the side and get it over near one of the grinders. And Creighton's going to take advantage of Gizmo and put it on the grinder instead. So some of the spikes just broke off. One of the flipping arms is broken off now. 2 wheels have broken off. Oh, look at that toss. That was good. Gizmo not as uncontrollable now that it is missing 2 wheels. Creighton just going to leave it on the grinder because it can. Oh, there goes all of Gizmo's spikes. Oh, but Creighton drove its own wheel into the grinder now. Oh, no. Is Creighton going to lose because of its own bad driving? That would be a horrible way to break an undefeated streak. Oh, but it got the ring out! Wow. Creighton was on the edge of defeat, and Gizmo tried to attack it, and Creighton got him. Wow, that was a great fight. That was a great ending. Never count Creighton out. I just need the time on that one. 159 seconds. Did it really go that long? Wow, that was a long fight. That one's going in the high round. Yeah, that might be a fight of the week candidate there. Make sure you guys vote in that Twitter poll after the stream's over. Oop, we're up top here. 109. Okay. Okay, so that is 2 points for Meta. It's a tied match for 2 points to 2. And we're moving on to the heavyweights, where Meta has Psychogenic Harmfulness, a double vertical spinner, not invertible, and HIVE has Mammoth, which is 2 overhead war pick axes and 2 side war pick axes. Also not invertible, I don't believe, but Mammoth has had some very gutsy fights where it's come back from the defeat. So let me know your predictions for Psychogenic Harmfulness versus Mammoth. Quora with a $20 super chat. Wow, thank you very much. Wedge exists. Gizmo, adios. Yes. As soon as a wedge exists in the arena, Gizmo and Sludge are just like, my people need me. Lots of people predicting Mammoth for this one. $20 donation. Yes, I very much appreciate that because I have been out of work since March because of the pandemic. And so that is helping me to literally keep the lights on here. I very much appreciate that. Let's see how this fight goes here between these two. Mammoth getting in to attack the weapons, not quite getting to the side to those weapon motors. It's broken off a stabilizer. One of Psychogenic's stabilizers has broken off. And Mammoth has lost one of its axes now. Neither of them is able to get any hits on the chassis, really, but now Psychogenic going to go for that wheel. It missed. So now Mammoth actually did get a hit on one of the weapon motors. Is it just trying to lure Psychogenic in? I don't know. It's down to just the side axes now, but the side axes are getting chassis hits on Psychogenic Harmfulness. It's lost its stabilizers. So it's possible for Mammoth to flip Psychogenic Harmfulness over. I think it's just one spike on each of those side axes left. Oh, Psychogenic took a wheel and almost knocked itself over at the same time. We've seen Mammoth really fight hard when it's down to just one wheel. Looks like it's trying to do the same thing again. Psychogenic Harmfulness is very unstable without those front stabilizers, and it just might knock itself over here if it's not careful. Mammoth trying to break a count, and I think it did so. Psychogenic, I think, just has a single tooth left on one disc. Mammoth has no weapons left at all. Psychogenic really struggling to move. Oh, but it does get the KO finally. 118 left. Mammoth did not go down without a fight, that's for sure. Not many heavyweights have put up more than 10,000 points. That's a very damaging fight there. And that gives Meta a 5-2 lead. So the best that HIVE can hope to do is to tie the match. Oh, that's not what I wanted. So we head to the super heavyweights. Okay, so for meta, they have Spearmint, which is a not invertible rammer, but it's got a scoop wedge on the front with all these spikes set up, and it's able to scoop robots right over the wall with its ramming power. HIVE Academy has HIVE, which is a double-length piston poker. It's got 2 sets of spikes on the front, and it's got a lot of defensive features, but it's not invertible either. So if Spearmint can scoop HIVE over, it can end the fight, but if HIVE can break through Spearmint's wedge or get to its wheels or just knock it over in any way, HIVE could also take the win. This is, I don't know how to predict this one. Let me know what you guys think. Lots of people leaning towards Spearmint, and a lot of people leaning towards it being a glitchy physics mess, which HIVE is a very glitchy physics mess robot. So let's see what happens. Let's see how many times we have to restart this. So Spearmint not really able to get underneath HIVE very well. Physics got angry, but they're able to recover, and we're going to let the match continue. So there are some components being broken off. I think that's all being broken off of HIVE, and now Spearmint's gotten under HIVE very well and got it pinned to the wall. Can it get HIVE upside down is the important question. No, HIVE is able to recover. And it's trying to get shots at those wheels when Spearmint leaves them exposed, but those lower spikes were taken off, so it's not doing as much damage as it would like. Spearmint going to get another good ram here and pin HIVE to the wall. And it has to break the count and back up, so it's not considered a pin. More parts breaking off of HIVE, but the big scoop is broken off of Spearmint. That's another physics glitch that I'm going to allow to continue because it didn't really affect the strategic outcome. Spearmint going to get a big ram, and it gets HIVE over the wall anyway, even without the big scoop. Okay. So there we go. Well, that is another ring out for Spearmint. It's had quite a lot of those, and that's another match where Meta has gotten 2 ring outs in the match, because Creighton also got one, and that is a convincing 7-2 victory for Meta. Both of these teams were number 1 in their respective divisions, so this is sort of like a preview of what could be a championship match at the end of the season. And if it does come down to a championship match, can HIVE get revenge for some of these losses? All right. So it is time for our next match, Kinetic Creatures versus Pink Chaos. Kinetic Creatures has Steel Dragon in the lightweights. It is a saw blade spinner with 2 vertically oriented saw blades. We classify them differently to normal spinners because they do slow amounts of damage over time instead of a lot of damage in one big hit. So you can have a vertically oriented saw blade spinner and a vertical spinner on the same team. Pink Chaos comes with Unprettier, which is like this overhead axe claw thing Unprettyer's been pretty decent this season. Steel Dragon, I think, has only just gotten its first win of the season last week. So leave your predictions for what you think is going to happen in this match. Steel Dragon is a better wedge, and Unprettier's kind of top-heavy, so going for Steel Dragon. These are both accurate statements. Unprettier can sort of self-right. I don't think either of them have a whole lot of drive power is the thing. Mysterious Green Liquid will be a sponsor of Heavy Metal Robotics. That would require them to actually send us Mysterious Green Liquid, though. Wedge Stalemate. It's distinctly possible. Let's see if that's what happens. It is, in fact, a wedge stalemate. So this is what happens when you build good wedges in this game, is they fight other good wedges. Although Unprettier's going to be the first to break and try to get underneath Steel Dragon again, and they're going to stalemate once again. Although Steel Dragon, I think, is coming out on top with the pushing. Yeah, Unprettier is getting backed in towards one of the corner grinders. So if they do have to break a pin, Unprettier is going to have to wait for Steel Dragon to back up instead of trying to back up itself. How's everyone doing? That is a good question. Oh, I am waiting on the results of a COVID test. I do not think that I have it. I don't really have any symptoms, but I took the test anyway out of an abundance of caution, because that is the right thing to do. Ooh, Unprettier is going to back into the grinder like I was afraid it was, but it has gotten to the side of Steel Dragon now. Still not able to get underneath it. Both of them just running out of battery power here, I think. This is going to go down to the judges, and I think the only thing that is going to make a difference in this judge's decision is Unprettier backing into the grinder. Or maybe which one had the more drive power in these push of wars. Hope my test turns negative. I mean, if my test is positive, I'm basically symptom-free anyway, so I'm not concerned in that sense. But, you know, like I said, I don't have symptoms. I just wanted to take the test out of an abundance of caution. Unprettier has gotten to the side of Steel Dragon again. Oh, it's gone up Steel Dragon's wedge, as Steel Dragon's going to get to the side of Unprettier in return. Unprettier trying to find a different tactic, and it is not actually working out for it here. It doesn't have the speed to get around to Steel Dragon's side. It's trying to. It's really trying hard. But Steel Dragon's going to get under Unprettier, and now it's going to start damaging those wedges on the front of Unprettier. But Unprettier is going to push it backwards in the process. 7 seconds to go. This one's going to the judges. And they don't have a whole lot to go on here. Moving on to the middleweights. I don't have anything to say about that fight. Nothing happened in that fight. We're going to move on to the middleweights, where we have Siege, a vertical bar spinner that can self-right by kind of like flailing its wheels at the floor. And then we have Pink Chaos with Overthrown, a double front-hinged flipper. Leave your predictions in the chat. Let's go, Siege, do something cool. Siege has had some cool fights so far, and it's a very cool-looking robot. I think it's my favorite appearance, my favorite aesthetic of the robots in the leagues this season, but it's not good at fighting wedges, I have found. Number of people going for Overthrown. All right, let's see what happens. Let's see if Overthrown can take out the vertical spinner. Oh, they collided and Siege just fell over forwards. And now Overthrown is on top of Siege's wedge. So Siege doing damage to Overthrown's flipping arms and its chassis. And Overthrown's trying to push Siege back into the grinder, but now it's flipped itself over and it's got to right itself, but Siege is going to take advantage while it can. And now Overthrown attacking Siege's weapon motor, which may or may not be a good idea because Overthrown is going to lose its flipping arms in the process, but it did break the weapon off of Siege now. So Siege is upside down and largely uncontrollable because of its drive power. Overthrown does still have one flipping arm remaining, but it could still lose that if it hits those defensive ram plates on the front of Siege. Oh, thank you, babe. Overthrown has taken a wheel off of Siege, and it's got it against the wall again. I don't think Overthrown's going to have the power to get Siege over the wall here with just the one flipping arm. But it is beating the crap out of Siege. And Siege is just doing what it can to remain mobile. I think I heard a control board hit, and I have. That's a KO. That is 84 seconds. And the first match is pending a judge's decision, but this is, or the first fight's pending a judge's decision. This fight is a conclusive 3 points to Pink Chaos. So they lead the match. People talk about Beyblades. Beyblades was cool. Okay, heavyweight time. Surgical Glory for Kinetic creatures. Sit and Spin, Flail Thwackbot. Pink Chaos has Panther, an invertible rammer. I think Surgical Glory probably has the weapon power advantage here, but it definitely does not have the drive power advantage. Surgical Glory to avenge its previous losses due to dumb AI. Yeah, the Sit and Spin AI is rather dumb. And unfortunately, we have had to let it be dumb in order to counterbalance how incredibly overpowered it can be due to the way that the AI just blindly drive into each other. Looks like a number of people going for Panther on this one. Number of people going for Surgical Glory. Well, let's see if Panther can hold up to Surgical Glory or if the dumb AI strike again. So Panther getting in and stopping Surgical Glory from spinning and then backing out of its zone and getting it to stop again. So this is a good strategy from Panther until the physics engine didn't agree. Ooh, Panther missed that time, and Surgical Glory's gotten some good attacks in. And now it looks like it's going to get to Panther's wheels. Panther taking a lot of damage. Its previous strategy was working out well, backing away and letting Surgical Glory stop. But in this case, the just try and push against it strategy has not paid off. I think that was Panther that was at risk of being counted out there. Surgical Glory moving around, knocking off 3 of Panther's wheels. Panther knocking the flails off. And Surgical Glory going to lop off the tail for good measure. So this is a fight where dumb AI may come into play because Panther can't really move. And Surgical Glory is just going to sit and spin wherever Panther, nearby wherever Panther is. Surgical Glory is at risk of that corner grinder. Ooh, control board hit. This could be over pretty soon here. Ooh, another big hit. And the wheel is gone. So now if the sit and spin AI plays up, which I think it's going to, this is an official win for Surgical Glory if this goes to a TKO here. Because there's literally no way for Panther to move. 1:15 left on the clock. That is a win for Surgical Glory by TKO. Okay, that is 2 points for Kinetic Creatures, so if Steel Dragon wins the judge's decision, this match is currently tied 3-3. Which means it all hinges on the super heavyweight fight. So, White Hot, which is an overhead blade spinner, but with a tremendous amount of defensive features around it for Kinetic Creatures, and Pink Chaos has Dysfunctional Stepsister, which has 10 rear-hinged flipping arms. Neither of these robots doing particularly well this season. What are your predictions for White Hot versus Dysfunctional Stepsister? Just Stepsister gonna murder this thing. Number of people going for White Hot, number of people going for Dysfunctional Stepsister. And American Killjoy says what I am thinking, which is it could be weird if Stepsister cannot get its flipping arms synced properly. White Hot does have enough defensive spikes that it could break off a lot of the flipping arms. Or Dysfunctional Stepsister could throw it a mile into the air and lop off almost all the spikes at once. Okay. I didn't see that coming, but here we see the problem with the flipping arms getting out of sync. And now White Hot is going to take advantage of this. Now, I know some robots run away from spinners, but hiding on top of the spinner itself is a new strategy. White Hot going to try and put Dysfunctional Stepsister into the grinder. Stepsister's just in the air. It can't do anything about this. I think White Hot's driven into the grinder itself. It's lost it's lost one of its defensive wheel protectors. Stepsister's still unable to get under, but now White Hot breaks the count. Stepsister tosses it. But those flipping arms take a long time to reset, and now White Hot is underneath the flipping arms. And that is where it could do a lot of damage to them and to Stepsister's chassis. But Stepsister once again underneath White Hot, knocking off wheels and wheel guards alike, and the entire rack of spikes off the front. So Stepsister doing a lot of damage to White Hot here, although it has lost at least 2 flipping arms from what I can see. And now White Hot's spinner is actually coming into play and starting to lop off flipping arms. Okay, White Hot. It's got the drive power advantage over Stepsister, who's now stuck onto debris. And now White Hot's stuck on top of Dysfunctional Stepsister. This is going to be a pin, and we're going to have to restart this. Because White Hot is not letting Dysfunctional Stepsister get away. So that is a restart. That was a good fight, but it's a restart. And now, Stepsister lopping off half of the spikes of White Hot. It's got it up on the wall and over! Okay, Dysfunctional Stepsister not playing around. Not anywhere near as destructive as the first time we ran it, but much more conclusive. Burnout says that was a 10-second ring out. So, that wins the match for Pink Chaos 5 to either 2 points or 3 points, depending on the judge's decision. So, Pink Chaos wins the match. Not a whole lot of points in it, though. 5 points isn't really enough to go anywhere in the standings. And we move on yet again. Team 9 versus Team 10. Eeveeon versus the Kestrels. So Eeveeon is out of Kyoto, Japan, and they bring Kurbnalob to the lightweights. Downward spinning vertical spinner traps the opponent against the wedge. Not invertible. The Kestrels bring El Gringo, which is a very tiny, compact four-wheel drive rammer. Doesn't have a whole lot of battery power, so it slows down a lot at the end of the fight. What are your predictions for Kurbnalob and El Gringo? Kurbnalob is awkward to type. Yes, it is. That's what happens when you spell things backwards. Number of people going for El Gringo, number going for Kurbnalob. Tamabris pointing out that El Gringo is armored in plastic and does not have a whole lot of defense. Insert prediction here is a good one. So here we go. El Gringo kind of changing its mind about how it wanted to attack Kurbnalob, but it does charge straight in. Goes right up the wedge, and Kurbnalob is going to do damage to the top of El Gringo. It tried to get it back into the grinder, but has failed to do so. Look at the damage to the top of El Gringo now. It is damaging Kurbnalob's wedge, but I don't know if it's doing as much damage as Kurbnalob is doing to it. There's now smoke pouring out of El Gringo. Ooh, a big hit and a control board hit. I think El Gringo is deformed so much it's sinking into the floor. Oh, that's a control board hit on Kurbnalob as well. Okay. But El Gringo is the one that gets KO'd in 51 seconds. That was close. It was a lot closer than I was thinking it was going to be. Gringo looks like shish kebab when it got mashed by the pulverizer. It does. It really does. Literally flattened. So that is a quick 3 points to Eeveeon, who is one of the lower ranked teams in the league, if I remember correctly. So they really needed a lot of points there. We'll see how they do in the middleweights. So, for Eeveeon, we have Spinning Cage of Death, a 360-degree mace spinner, not invertible. The Kestrels have Drigger, which is a kind of a tiger claw-shaped set of spikes on a piston. Drigger is invertible. Neither of these robots are doing very well this season, so this is a case of two teams, two robots that really need some points here. You guys were mentioning Beyblade references earlier. People going in favor of Drigger for the most part. Killjoy going with Spinning Cage of Death. We will see how it turns out for either of them. Spinning Cage of Death is up to speed. It got a hit on Drigger's left side wheel there. And I thought something broke off somewhere. Drigger trying to get into Spinning Cage of Death's chassis, but not really able to get a good hit in there because the spinner keeps knocking it away. It's broken some of the spikes off of the piston. It's broken more of the spikes off the piston, and it's broken a wheel off. So Spinning Cage of Death doing a lot of damage to Drigger here, and it's gotten itself stuck on some debris, but faring a lot better than I thought it was going to. Drigger's Tiger Claw piston, just not fast enough or not enough reach to get in through Spinning Cage of Death's Spinning Cage of Death. It has done some damage to its chassis. And it's gotten a wheel, so they're both on one wheel now. I'm not sure. I think Spinning Cage of Death has taken more chassis damage because most of its hits to Drigger have been to those spikes in the front. Oh! Drigger was able to get some momentum and almost knocked Spinning Cage of Death over, but it has knocked a mace off, so it's unstable as it spins. It's not able to drive much. Neither of them are able to do much drive-wise here. Knocked another mace off. And yet another mace. So now Spinning Cage of Death is balanced, but it got the other wheel off of Drigger. So this is officially a TKO. I'm going to ignore that physics glitch because it's not like it changed the outcome of this match at all. Just a matter of waiting for one of them to get counted out, and I think it's going to be Drigger here. 58 seconds left on the clock. That is 122 seconds, and Spinning Cage of Death gets a TKO. So Eeveeon has a 5-0 lead over Baltimore. Kestrels don't really have anything for the Kyoto team. Now it is heavyweight time. We have two flippers. Okay, flipper versus flipper battle. We have Spike 6 for Eeveeon, which is 2 front-hinged flippers, and we have Warbird for the Kestrels, which is 3 rear-hinged flippers. They both do have some degree of defensive features along the sides, with Warbird having more of them, but neither of them have a whole lot of drive power, so they're not going to be getting like a big charging rush towards the wall with anything. So what is our prediction for Spike 6 and Warbird? Everybody going for Warbird in this one. Well, the Kestrels are down by 5, so they need some KOs. They will not settle for... Settling for TKOs will not be good enough. Oh, Warbird just immediately under Spike 6. Wasn't even close. Oh, but the flipping arms are not able to get back down. And Spike 6 is under Warbird now, and it's flipped it over and gotten it against the wall. This is a very bad spot for Warbird to be in. The Spike 6 can do a lot of damage here while it's trying to right itself. So Warbird has gotten down. Spike 6 is going to get under it and knock away some of those defensive spikes while flipping over. It's got a control board hit now. I think Spike 6 has lost its flipping arms, though. It's not trying to flip Warbird. It's somehow Warbird has lost a wheel in the process, and it's stuck on top of its own flipping arm. I think Warbird has broken some flipping arms here because it doesn't have any power to right itself anymore. What the hell is going on in this fight? I don't know, but Spike 6 has got Warbird in the grinder and is just going to leave it there. Oh no, it's going to pin it. Don't do that, Spike 6. You had the match wrapped up, but this is technically a pin now. Well, that's a restart. So let's see how things go this time. Warbird immediately flips Spike 6 over, who has to self-right, and he does so on top of Warbird, who once again is struggling to get those flipping arms into place. They're kind of locked up on their corners now. Spike 6 could get under Warbird's defensive spikes, but it looks like they're just kind of content to spin in place here at the moment. Well, this is definitely the fight that everybody really wanted to see. So how is everybody doing in the chat? So, I'm going to answer the question that was asked at the very start of the stream, which was, what's the strangest thing you've heard on live commentary? Back in the day, I used to watch NASCAR, and there was a race at Sears Point, which I think is called Sonoma now, and a car backed into a tire barrier and flipped over and got stuck. And the commentary team was trying to talk about how are they going to get this this car off of this wall, and Benny Parsons, one of the best NASCAR commentators ever, said, I think they're just going to grab it and jerk it off. And that's the strangest thing that I've heard on live commentary. And I didn't want to say that at the start of the stream because that's when YouTube pays attention to, like, monetizable words and such. Welcome, Dolphin Treasure, to the stream. You are here just in time for the most exciting fight of the night. Or afternoon. Whatever. God, why is my nose so itchy? I need to shave more. 44 seconds still to go, and it's the longest 44 seconds of my life. Thank you for answering, Psycho. Yes. Yeah, it's been a pretty good stream so far. We've had some unexpected fights, some really aggressive and destructive fights, and then we've had this to balance it out. Yellow Hornet might join the Discord. He wants to get DSL working and participate in Season 2. We do not use Robot Arena 2 DSL. We use bare bones stock Robot Arena 2. The only modified component is the Smart Zone pack. That is it. We use stock Robot Arena 2. Do you restart and hope for a better match, or run the risk of another 3 minutes of this? We do not restart matches unless the fight ends in a way that is not allowed. So as dumb as this fight is, that is an official fight. We have to let it go and let the robots do their thing. Which means that the judges are going to fall asleep during that one. Well, that wins the match for Eeveeon because the most points that the Kestrels can get from here is 3, and Eeveeon is up 5-0 before that. So Eeveeon wins the match through sheer boredom, mainly. Kestrels are, oh, excuse me, Team 10. So here we go. Super heavyweights. Blood Eagle versus Berserker. Blood Eagle with the big battering ram plow. Berserker with the 4 horizontal spinners. Leave your predictions. File that match in the basement clips folder. No, we're filing that match in the Let's Pretend It Never Happened folder. Burnout going for a predicting a glitch fest. Well, there will at least be enough glitches for the highlights video then. Everyone going for Blood Eagle. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not sure Berserker is maneuverable enough to get around behind Blood Eagle here. Blood Eagle's got the drive power. It could probably push Berserker over the wall if it really tried. Has knocked one of Berserker's weapons off. There was a glitch, but I'm going to kind of ignore it because the robots have recovered and it's not changed the outcome much. I might have to restart it if they keep backing over that spot, though. Blood Eagle, quit doing that. Okay, I got to restart it now. That was about 5 times that Blood Eagle got thrown at the grinder there. Blood Eagle bouncing over the floor. But getting a lot of damage to those motors on Berserker. Berserker looking lost, trying to get the back motors into play, or the back spinners into play. Blood Eagle going to get Berserker over to the grinder. But still almost all of the motors were there, and then Blood Eagle got yeeted. Blackbird just got back in. I have to watch this again. Do not watch the last fight. You can skip that one safely. Just take a 3-minute long nap. Blood Eagle actually really struggling to do anything to Berserker for a minute, and now it's got Berserker into the grinder. And it's knocked the disc off of that right rear spinner. It's knocked the wheel off of Berserker. So now Berserker down to 1-wheel drive. And is got a 10 count. It should be able to break it, theoretically. There it goes. That breaks the 10 count. So Berserker going to come, or Blood Eagle come back in and put it back in the grinder again. I put you there for a reason. Stay there. Physics is getting unhappy, but as long as nobody goes to space, we should be able to let this continue. Oh, look at the damage Blood Eagle's doing with the grinder. Wow. That's a KO. That was an impressive level of damage there. So Eeveeon just straight smacked the heck out of the Kestrels with at least 8 points and a possible judge's decision coming their way. So we move on. Or we don't, because the game crashed. That was a slam and a half. Yes, it was. Worried there was going to be more glitches. I was too. I was actually kind of surprised at how few glitches there were in that one. Next up, we have the Moscow Mantines against River City Robotics, which is out of Little Rock, Arkansas. So, the Mantines bring Hailstorm 4 to the lightweights. It's a front-hinged flipper. River City brings Network, which is a horizontal saw blade spinner. Network has a really good record so far, but it's kind of fallen off the last couple of weeks. Hailstorm has had some surprising fights both for and against it. So let me know your predictions for this one. Everybody leaning towards Network on this one. Network's saw blades are low enough to get to the front of Hailstorm's wedge. And Network has been really good at out-wedging things somehow with them. So let's see how this fight goes. Lots of people leaning towards Network. How did we get a physics glitch there? I'm going to ignore it, but like, what the hell was that? Nothing even came off or did anything. Wow, Hailstorm's knocked all the weapon off of Network. That was completely unexpected. And now Hailstorm's thrown itself backwards, but I'm going to let it... Hailstorm is doing that thing, and it's going to make me restart the fight. Because this has changed the strategic outcome of the match. I have to restart it. Let's try that one again. Let's see if Hailstorm can control itself. And once again, it's lopped the weapon straight off of Network. And if it can get Network stranded on its front or rear, I think Network would be totally stuck. I don't think it could drive them. Ooh. Network looks like it has been thrown into a bending machine. It's just getting like, what's the term? Banana. The whole robot's doing this now. Hailstorm just kind of holding it there just to demonstrate that it is the one in charge. Network surprisingly mobile for a suitcase. It's just running away. That's the only thing Network can do, is run away. And Hailstorm's just going to park it on the wall again. Network's weapon frame held on with sticky back plastic. Might be. And now Network is stranded on its front end with its wheels off of the ground, and that is a TKO win for Hailstorm. "82 seconds, and Hailstorm with a very convincing win over one of the better lightweights in the league. Well, one of the better records for the lightweights. Network is this 3 straight defeats for Network? It's not doing very good at all. So that's 2 points for the Mantines. All right, middleweight time. We have OMG, it's Dollar Store Razor for the Moscow Mantines. It's got the overhead claw. It's also got a rear hinge flipper underneath. River City has Cleansing, which has a spike wedge and a single front hinge flipper. Cleansing is technically invertible, but I don't think it's AI'd that way. Razor is not invertible, and it cannot self-right, I don't think. Predictions for OMG, it's Dollar Store Razor versus Cleansing. Everybody in favor of Razor for this one. You know, I'm not going to disagree, because Cleansing has been doing very poorly this season. Let's see which one has the better wedge. And it's Razor with the better wedge. And it is getting that claw into place. Cleansing's trying to lop the claw off with its flipping arm. It's lost its entire front wedge, though. So Razor has lopped off the entire front spike wedge of Cleansing. Cleansing still has its flipping arm, but it's... what's it going to do with it? It can't get Razor up its wedge. Razor still has its rear hinge flipper and its claw. So here we go. That's control board hits. That's a KO. That's 3 points. 36 seconds. Cleansing fit perfectly into Razor's claw. And just like that, the Moscow Mantines have a 5-0 lead in this match. Burnout says, what a typical Razor fight, just grabbing and not letting go. You're not wrong. So River City down by 5 immediately. Going into the heavyweights. And now we have 2 similar robots. Tougher than Nails for the Mantines. Kind of crushing hammer arms. Jaws of Death is 2 big swinging clubs that come in. Jaws of Death and Tougher Than Nails are both invertible, but I don't expect them to flip each other over. So 2 very similar robots here. Your predictions are leaning towards Tougher Than Nails, Jaws of Death. Looks like it's mostly towards Tougher Than Nails, but is kind of split between them. Burnout says it's a Spider-Man meme. Yes, it is. Let's see which side-hinged swinging weapon is going to win this one. I think Tougher Than Nails has the HP advantage in terms of weapon health. But Jaws of Death has the greater swinging range, so it can get more speed into its attacks. So that's the left side weapon broken off of Tougher Than Nails. And now it looks like the right side weapon's going to get broken off, although the left side weapon broken off of Jaws of Death as well. Jaws of Death is getting to that wheel on the left side. Look at all the debris that's around. There goes the wheel. Tougher Than Nails now missing a wheel. It was getting that sledgehammer into Jaws of Death's chassis. And there goes the last remaining part for Tougher Than Nails weapons. That's been broken off entirely. It looks like River City's going to get some points back here if this fight does conclude without any glitches. Jaws of Death really struggling to get that last swinging club into play. Still managing to break off some parts of Tougher Than Nails and get some control board hits, though. We're on to the second half of the fight now. Tougher Than Nails has flipped itself over. That was interesting. And now the grinder's into play, and that is a KO with 116 remaining. So that's 3 points back for River City. It is now 5-3. So River City, if they get a knockout in the super heavyweights, can win the match. But they have to beat Falcon Punch, which is one of the better super heavyweights. And they have Overseer, which is one of the worst performing super heavyweights. So, predictions. Falcon Punch, the sit and spin robot with a bunch of fists all the way around. I think it's invertible. Overseer, also not invertible. It has a horizontal spinner in the front and a lot of defensive stuff. Burnout expects sit and spin AI shenanigans. That's a distinct possibility because neither of these robots are very fast. Falcon Punch to KO River City Hopes. Yeah, I think, well, the chat is split on this one, so we'll see how it goes. Overseer coming in. It is not low enough to get that weapon under the fists of Falcon Punch. So they're going to kind of touch tips with these weapons. Overseer going to back out of a count and then come charging back in. It's losing the teeth off of its horizontal spinner to Falcon Punch, who has broken the whole weapon off of Overseer now. Overseer has broken one of the fists off, however. Two of the fists have come off. Overseer trying to get into Falcon Punch and get some of these fists out of the way. It's charged at it and driven over the top of it. And Falcon Punch has put Overseer on top of the grinder for its trouble. Overseer does have a lot of defensive stuff on the side, so it could still knock off more of these fists. But the sit and spin AI is going to strike, it looks like. No! It broke the count. And now Overseer missing some more of those defensive spikes. Falcon Punch did try to break the count. Is it going to be able to? I don't think so. That is a sit and spin TKO win for Overseer. And that means that match is tied 5-5. Do I remember what fail race episodes I've had clips featured in? It's about 7 or 8 fail race episodes. All of them were before episode. I think the most recent was like episode 115 or something, or 140. So like it was a long time ago I was in fail race episodes, but it was like 5 or 6 or 7 episodes. I have a playlist of them somewhere. So that match is tied 5-5, and Overseer gets its second win of the season. And we just have 2 matches remaining. Up next, Sinister Creations. Formerly number 1 in the league, now 5th in its own division, against the Armchair Engineers, the lowest ranked team in the league. AI is artificially not intelligent. Yeah, intelligence is a big word to use for the AI in this game. So for this match, we have Overheat for Sinister Creations, a front hinge flipper, and Whipwreck, a sit and spin flail thwackbot for the Armchair Engineers. Leave your comments for this, your predictions for this match, this fight. Two matches left. The stream just flies. Yeah, it's a pretty active stream that we have here with the Robot Rampage League. There's always something happening, and it can be pretty exciting. Sometimes it goes by quickly, sometimes it goes by kind of slowly. Last week was the longest stream because of all the judges' decisions. A lot of people leaning towards Whipwreck on this one. You know, Whipwreck might actually have a chance if it hits the side of Overheat and gets a wheel. So let's see if the Armchairs can get some points here against Sinister. It is getting some hits on Overheat, who's not able to get that front hinge flipper into play. And it is doing some damage. Overheat is trying to get that flipper to knock that flail off, but it is not helping. Now, Whipwreck going to the other side. It's knocked a wheel off, and it's got the KO. 25 seconds. So just like that, the Armchair Engineers, the worst team in the league, has gotten 3 points from Sinister Creations, the former number 1. Then we head to the middleweights. So Sinister has Cycloid, which is 2 side-hinged war pickaxes. The Armchair Engineers have Mini Berserker, which is 2 horizontal spinners in the front. It's literally the super heavyweight Berserker with the 2 rear weapons taken off. Leave your predictions. Everyone going for Cycloid here. Cracking open another cider. Cider is good. Cider is about the only kind of alcohol I can tolerate. I really don't drink because I just hate the taste of alcohol. But cider is pretty good. So here we go. Cycloid just straight up attacking those motors because that's where its axes are. But it's actually, well, it's taken one of them off. It's taken both of them off. And then been thrown into the grinder. Oh, Cycloid going straight at one motor. It's gotten Mini Berserker back into the grinder. And actually, Cycloid's taken some damage. Cycloid's taken a lot of damage to the front end. It's broken one of the motors off now. It's gotten turned around. We're gonna... Nope. No, we're not going to let it go. Take number 3. Cycloid going straight for those weapon motors once again. Broken. Oh, it's actually lost part of its axe, and now it's been flipped over. I think we should restart that one. What do you think, Burnout? The strategic outcome of the match hasn't really changed that much. Do you think we should restart it? Well, yeah, we're restarting it now. Never mind. Take number 4. Oh wow, Cyclade's just trying to charge straight through the center of the spinners. I don't know if that's a good strategy. It's lost one of its axes altogether. Cyclade, what are you doing? Mini Berserker's taking damage to those motors. It's lost one of them. It's lost both of them. And now Mini Berserker flipped itself over, running into the wall. And it managed to get a little bit of traction and drive itself upright, but Cyclade's put it into the grinder and taken a wheel off of it. And Cyclade takes it to the other grinder. Mini Berserker is just kind of... Every time that wheel touches the ground, it's just throwing itself about. That's a control board hit. And the other wheel is off. That's a KO for Cycloid. So there we have it. 3 points back to Team Sinister, and the match is tied up. That was one of the funniest series of fights I've seen. It was pretty amusing. Cyclade was just causing these havoc problems with knocking the motors off Berserker, and then for the fight that it actually completes, it just charges straight through the center of the spinners and takes all this damage. It was very strange. Ooh, we need team match. Because Armchairs have a multi-box. I'm going to cry so much if we get a lot of multi-bot entries next season. I really hope we don't. So, Sinister Creations comes to the heavyweights with Omnipresence, a sit-and-spin flail whackbot. The Armchair Engineers bring Axis and Allies. Axis is a front-hinged flipper. Allies is a double vertical spinner. Importantly, for Sinister to get more than 1 point out of this, they have to either TKO or KO both of the robots in the multi-bot in order to do that. So leave your predictions for the outcome of this fight in the chat. Number of people leaning towards Axis and Allies because of the sit and spin AI. I'm not sure if that's going to happen in this fight because there are two opponents to drive at it. So I think that's a little bit less likely. Let's see if the sit and spin AI cooperates with us this time or not. Omnipresence going for the little one, Axis. What the hell just happened to Allies? I'm gonna not let that continue because Allies got flipped over again. Omnipresence losing some flails already. Losing at least one flail to Allies. It's pounded the crap out of the side of Axis. And it's taken a disc off of Allies altogether. It's KO'd Axis. And now it's going to get to work sending Allies into orbit. Ooh. Allies getting tossed over by Omnipresence. And Allies is on its back and cannot self-right, I don't think. Can it self-right off of its teammate? No, apparently. Omnipresence is just going to beat the crap out of Allies. And that is Allies KO'd, but Omnipresence is stuck spinning because it's next to Allies. I think we're going to get the TKO. We're going to get the sit and spin AI TKO here. Well, that's an unfortunate end for that fight. Has there ever been a sit and spin in Robot Wars? Yes, I think that was all of the original spinners were just like a box that would just spin in place at like 4 miles an hour. And Jonathan Pierce like acted like it was the craziest thing he'd ever seen. I want to say there was a robot named Spin Doctor specifically because it could spin in place. It is super heavyweights time. Sinister is losing this match 5-3. They need a KO here. They're bringing Rabid Fox, which is 4 vertical spinners, and the Armchair Engineers have Smashy McSmashface, which is 5 hammers. Rabid Fox falls over very easily. Smashy McSmashface is designed to look like it's from Robot Arena 1. What are the predictions for this messed up matchup? Spin Doctor broke Matilda's tusk. That it did. Imagine if Smashy gets a win here. Smashy is the only robot in the league, and Week 9, the only robot in the league with 0 wins so far. Every other robot has gotten at least 1 win. Burnout saying Smashy to win and get the Armchairs their first match win. That would be really something to do it over the former #1 team in the league. That would be incredible. Let's see what Smashy can do for Rabid Fox. If they're lucky, they can get it upside down and leave it to be pinned against the wall. Smashy's going to get stuck on the wall. It looks like Rabid Fox is just going to take all the hammers off of Smashy McSmashface, because Smashy cannot wedge underneath Rabid Fox. There's just one ice pick weapon left on Smashy's hammers. They're going to back up, and Rabid Fox is going to turn itself over. So now Smashy going to put it over in the grinder. Rabid Fox probably could turn itself back over from this position, which it does. And now they're going to wedge stalemate again. Oh, Smashy got lifted up on a piece of debris. It drove over a piece of debris and lifted itself in the air. Now it's stuck on the wall from Rabid Fox pushing against it. So Smashy's trying to break a 10 count stuck on debris. It's going to push Rabid Fox back. Rabid Fox is going to push it back and flip over. Smashy going to try and push Rabid Fox towards the grinder once again. You know, Smashy's not very good at winning fights, but man, it tries its hardest. It's rarely a very fast win, so a very fast loss. Smashy doing his best. Keeps trying to put Rabid Fox into the grinders. It's doing what it can. But Rabid Fox doing a lot of damage to Smashy in the process. And that's a control board hit. I don't think it's going to be much longer here. In fact, that's a KO. That is 96 seconds. And Sinister Creations barely takes the win 6-5 over the Armchair Engineers. And that leads us into our final match of the stream. He was so close, I know. I like that Burnout's like, Sinister's my favorite team, but fuck them. Right. Last match of the stream, Valley View Robotics Club coming into the lightweights with Overvolter, one of the most powerful lightweights in the league with that spiked axe. The C team coming in with Brickface, which is a sit and spin thwackbot with an angled thwacker like T-Rex from the old version of BattleBots. Overvolter is not invertible, and Brickface is, and has a lot of drive power and could potentially knock it over here. So what is your prediction for Overvolter versus Brickface? A lot of people predicting Overvolter, a number of people predicting Brickface. Expecting one of them to knock the weapon off the other in one hit. That has happened a few times. So let's see if that comes true. Ooh, Overvolter with a big shot to the top of Brickface, but Brickface getting some good hits in. Hasn't... Oh, it's just now going unstable, and now Overvolter's going to take advantage. Yeah, if Brickface was a little bit more stable, it could really do a lot to Overvolter here, but every time it gets unstable like that, Overvolter comes in and gets a good hit. It just hooked on the weapon there. Interesting, Overvolter being tossed straight up in the air rather than knocked over on its side, which is what Brickface really needs to hope for. But Brickface is doing damage to Overvolter's chassis and potentially to those wheels as well. And Overvolter struggling to get in when Brickface is not spinning out of control. Oh, that's a control board hit. Overvolter's got Brickface down to control board hits, but Brickface is doing really well to keep Overvolter at bay here. And Overvolter is running itself out of battery power with all those missed shots. We are at 90 seconds into the fight. Oh, there goes the weapon off Brickface. A great shot by Overvolter. And now Brickface is just a weaponless box. And Overvolter's going to go in for the KO. If it can land a hit. Because Brickface will not hold still. Oh, now it will once it gets itself stuck. That's a KO. With 1:07 remaining. That was a pretty good fight up until that weapon came off of Brickface. They were really evenly matched. I quite enjoyed that. That might be a fight of the week contender. Okay, so Burnout, you're 10 seconds off. 120 seconds is 2 minutes. Getting close to 7,000 subs. Don't remind me, I'm going to freak out even more. So, our final middleweight fight of the stream is Galactic Fabrication, a rear-hinged flipper, against Explicit Equation, a 4-piston spike piston poker. Explicit Equation is undefeated. Until last week, it had been all KOs for Explicit Equation, but it was pushed to the judges last week, which it won. So, can Galactic Fabrication do anything for Explicit Equation here? Explicit Equation is invertible. Two of my brother's robots that he's built here with the exceedingly long names that are difficult to write into notes. Everybody leaning towards... oh no, there's people predicting Galactic Fabrication here. I mean, it's possible. We've seen robots get some surprising upsets before. If Galactic Fabrication somehow wins, I'll donate another $20. That would be hilarious. Let's see if that happens. You know what? I'm going to restart the fight until that happens. So, Galactic Fabrication misfiring its flippers and taking a bunch of piston shots for its troubles, but it's gotten Explicit Equation over. Now, Explicit Equation is invertible, and it does still have those pistons going. But I think that's the first time we've seen Explicit Equation flipped over like that and pushed into the grinder now. Both of the flipping arms off of Galactic Fabrication. But it has damaged Explicit Equation in the corner. Oh, control board hits, but Galactic Fabrication underneath. And Explicit Equation can't really do anything here other than just get pushed into the wall. Oh, what a kill shot. KO for Explicit Equation. Math wins again. And that is 9-0. Explicit Equation has gone the entire first half of the season undefeated. That's pretty impressive. Nine 9-0 and 8 knockouts. Yeah, it was pretty good. So, heavyweight time. Final heavyweight fight of the match, of the match and the stream. Cinnamon, Scoop Wedge Rammer, not invertible. Steel Dragon 2000, kind of like overhead axe, rear hinge flipper, bitey, grabby, claw thing. Steel Dragon 2000 has won some surprising fights and lost some surprising fights. And it is able to get underneath and flip other robots over, and Cinnamon is not invertible. Right now, the match is tied 3-3, so this is going to be an important fight here. Lots of people going with Cinnamon and a few going with Steel Dragon 2000. Explicit Equation versus Creighton Wen. I don't know. I'll have Burnout look that up. Should someone make a Super Collider replica? I would love that. So here we go. Cinnamon almost knocked itself over just running into Steel Dragon, and then Physics got angry with both of them. The physics engine really does not like it when spikes are shoved between two different spikes. It just has an absolute fit. So, Steel Dragon 2000 on the offensive, pushing back against Cinnamon and not letting it get under it. Now Cinnamon's under, but not able to push, really. One of Steel Dragon 2000 spikes have broken off of one of the top weapons. Cinnamon is underneath again. It's not really doing well pushing Steel Dragon 2000 like you would expect. Both of the top weapons off of Steel Dragon 2000 now, and a wheel. So Cinnamon doing damage to Steel Dragon 2000 before getting sent flying into next week. I'm going to let that one continue. Ooh. Kind of neither of them coming out ahead on that collision, but Cinnamon underneath Steel Dragon, and it's flipped it over onto the wall. Steel Dragon able to get down, but it loses a wheel to the grinder. Cinnamon has lost its overhead scoop. Steel Dragon 2000 has lost both of the right side weapons. So a whole lot happened in a very short time period there. Cinnamon going to wedge underneath Steel Dragon again. Kind of still has that extender sticking up for the top to help push, but Steel Dragon now totally immobilized, now upside down and without any wheels. So as long as physics doesn't happen, this should be a win for Cinnamon here. It's going to push Steel Dragon into the grinder just because it can. And now Steel Dragon with no weapons left at all. I think what's happening is Cinnamon is trying to get a KO and get the full 3 points out of this because it is a tied match. It might be a better choice to just take the TKO and get the guaranteed 2 points. But it's going for the 3. Oh, and Cinnamon's lost one of its own wheels on the grinder now, trying to knock out Steel Dragon 2000. Gonna push it into yet another grinder, and it's taking motors off each time it does. Please don't sit here and pin it, because then I'm going to have to restart the fight and you're not going to get the win. 1 minute remaining, and Cinnamon could have won this fight by this point, and hasn't. Really what we need to hope for is that Cinnamon gets it stuck against the wall and holds it there, and then lets it get counted out. That's not happening, and there's 30 seconds remaining. And Cinnamon is still moving Steel Dragon 2000 around. We might get a count out here, finally. We are now getting a count out. I'm gonna, even though it's a pin, I'm gonna let it continue and be an official TKO because there's literally nothing Steel Dragon 2000 can do to move. So that's 13 seconds remaining that Cinnamon gets the TKO. That is 167 seconds. I mean, Cinnamon did get the TKO eventually, but man, it was really playing with the clock there. So that is 2 points for Valley View. If C Team gets a knockout, they win the match. Because it is 5-3 right now. So what we have is TekonoAxe, 4 side-hinged fire axes, and Hygiene, which is an 8-wheel drive rammer with a bunch of spikes in the front. So, predictions for TekonoAxe and Hygiene, our final fight of the stream, and the fight that will determine the winner of this match. Hygiene to finish the stream. Hygiene, TekonoAxe. Alright, let's see if Hygiene can win this match for the C team, or if TekonoAxe will get Valley View the win. Ooh, that's a control board hit on the first hit. Oh my god, that was a 4-second knockout. What the fuck? What the fuck was that? Was TekonoAxe armored with paper for this fight? Wow. So that was a thing that happened. That was something I never thought I was going to see during this this first season. Wow. Okay, C team wins the match. We get it. We get it. You KO'd him. We get it. Okay, that was something. Man, that was crazy. So, C team wins 6-5, and we got the fastest KO of the whole league so far. That was pretty crazy. Right, I'm shook. I don't even remember any of the stuff I'm supposed to say right now. Anyway, what did you guys think? How did you guys enjoy this midpoint of the season? The week 9 is the midpoint of the regular season. What have you thought about the entire first half of the Robot Rampage League? I'm going to just sit and chat with you guys for a few minutes here, because I haven't really done that at all during any of these streams. I've always just been like, oh, wrap up the stream and go. So let me know what you guys think. What are your opinions on the Robot Rampage League? What do you like? What do you not like? We'll do some chat for a few minutes here. Pretty epic, says the T-Biscuit. Been amazing, says Zine's Mods. Yeah, I wanted to do something different with formats. I wanted to. I see so many Robot Arena shows that people make where they're just using BattleBots or Robot Wars formats. I wanted to try something different, and I really like the way that this format plays out because you can get really attached to a lot of the robots. Very crazy first half. It has been really crazy. We had the like number 15 team beat the number 1 team. We had the number 18 team almost lose to the number 1 team. We just had a 4-second knockout. We've had ring outs like crazy. We've had robots that lost everything get a surprising KO. It's been a very fun first half of the season so far. Quora with the super chat once again. Screw it, this has been so good. You deserve the $20 anyway. Man, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I cannot put into words how much I appreciate the fact that you guys are sending me super chats because I'm just kind of here just playing a game, having fun with everybody, and you guys think it's worth your time and your money, and I really appreciate that. Like I said, I am currently unemployed, and this is helping me get through that and keep the lights on, so I very much appreciate that. Great fight week. It's been a very good fight week we had this week. Looked away for 5 seconds and missed the entire Chemical X match. Yes, because it was less than 5 seconds. In my opinion, an UDA should be 3 points. The reason we did not go with 3 points for a ring out and we went with 2 is because the entire ring is a ring out zone. If it was just a certain area of the arena, it was a ring out zone, like the Robot Wars Series 10 arena, we might have done 3 points because it's a lot harder to get. Yeah, the robots have to work harder, but because they could just slam into any wall and get a ring out, we went with 2 points instead. You know how I go about applying for Season 2? Yes, I do. You're going to wait until we open up applications for Season 2 is how that's going to work. We do not have an official rule set yet, so we don't even know the answers to is this legal to build in my robot or not yet. We don't have that yet. We don't have an official rule set yet. That's not going to come out until after Season 1 has concluded. So we're going to finish all of Season 1. We're going to give people time to play with their ideas, and we're going to get a rule set out there so that they can build and practice. And then we'll do Season 2 a little while after that. So you have plenty of time to get Robot Arena 2 if you don't have it. Learn how to play it, learn how to build robots, and then build your stuff once we get the official rule sets done. Who do you think is bot of the season so far? Explicit Equation is the best robot in the league relative to its weight class. It has the most points out of any robot by a wide margin. It's been KO every fight except for last week, which was a judge's decision. Are you really playing it as if the AI is doing all the work? I'm not the one. Nobody's driving the robots. It's all being driven by the AI, and it's a lot more fun to pretend that the AI is being strategic because Robot Arena 2 is designed in it was made in 2002 or 2003, so it's very, very old technology. It's not a very complicated game. The AI is dumb AF. I think the coding for each AI mode is literally like 1 page. It's not even a lot of AI. Or not even a lot of coding. It's just if this, then this. It's not really intelligence in any way. So, I could just say, yes, they're running into each other like dumb idiots, or I could pretend that they're being strategic, which I think makes it a lot more fun. Can't blame you for being shook up by that last fight. I know, it was crazy, right? You guys got a logo for your robotics team. We have a temporary logo, which is just a really jagged-looking font. What we want to do is get a logo looking like a death metal band's logo, except slightly readable, is kind of the goal we have for our team logo. But we don't have that yet. But if people are curious, I'm talking about heavy metal robotics. My brother and I have officially started a heavy metal robotics robot team. It's going to be a while till we can compete because of the pandemic. But that's now an official team. We have a Facebook page that you can like and see photos of our robots and such there. Siege has been the most entertaining to watch. There's been a lot of good robots and good fights, even with the bad robots. Yeah, with the exception of the lightweights. The lightweights have been a little bit boring, but we kind of expect that because you can't get a lot of power into the lightweights with the way that the game works. Really hope Creighton and Explicit Equation manage to stay undefeated until they clash. That would be a crazy run. Something like 14 weeks or something it is. Going to build Season 2 bots soon and already planning for Season 3. Well, we don't have the rule set yet for Season 2, so you might have to rebuild them anyway, or they might be acceptable. We don't know yet. But yeah, practice all you want. We'll be building any of the Robot Rampage League robots in real life. The short answer is no, probably not, but I might reuse some of the names. There are a lot of robots that I've built in Robot Arena 2 that use song names, particularly heavy metal song names, and that would fit really well with our heavy metal robotics theme. So I might reuse some of the names, but probably not any of the exact robots, unless I was doing like a little ant weight just for fun. Vote Smashy as the Piece to Shit award winner. We are going to have awards at the end of the season for most destructive and MVP and all that kind of stuff. Burnout has a 5-page list of robot awards that we are going to be giving out at the end of the regular season, so make sure you guys are giving us your thoughts and opinions about that. Who do you think will remain unbeaten? I don't think any robot is going to be unbeaten for the whole 17-week regular season. There is going to come a type matchup at some point. It's just the wrong type to win against. So I think they are going to be beaten at some point. It's a matter of who has the longer unbeaten streak, in my opinion. Mr. Circuit says, gotta say this series has been motivating me to start playing RA2 again. Yeah, it's a fun game when you play it the way it was intended to be played. I've seen for a very long time, because I played Robot Arena 1 and Robot Arena 2 as soon as it came out, and it's 17 years ago. And the entire time, it's just been this like hyper-competitive, fourth-dimensional spike monster mess, and I really hate playing the game that way, because it's so limiting. I find it way more fun to just build silly shit like this that's got weaknesses and strengths, and just let the game be played the way it was intended to be played. So yeah, I'm glad to see it's inspiring people to play it again. I'm glad to see people picking up stock Robot Arena 2 again and getting interested in being part of the next season. I'm really looking forward to seeing what people build, because myself and my brother, we have a really kind of specific build style when we make these machines, and other people come up with ideas that we never would have thought of, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what everybody else comes up with. At the end of the season, could we get a Fight of the Week compilation? Yes, that is going to happen. We are going to have a video that's just all fights of the week. We're going to have a best highlights of the whole season video, all kinds of stuff. Did you watch the SpaceX launch today? I did not watch the SpaceX launch today. I did not watch the one where they, what was it, last week or earlier in the week, where they sent the astronauts to the space station. I've missed the last few launches, actually. I've not been able to do a whole lot this last week. I've kind of been focusing on mental and physical health this last week, so... Alright. That's more or less wrapping up the questions in the chat, so I'm gonna wrap up the stream then. Don't forget to follow the Robot Rampage League on Twitter, @RobotRampage. Because there we will ask what you think the fight of the week is. We will post stats, we will post results, all that kind of stuff there. You can join my Discord server down in the description of every one of my videos. We have RRL, Robot Rampage League discussion channels there, so you can discuss the league, or you can show off the robots that you're building for the league there as well. You can ask for help if you don't know how the game works. You can do whatever kind of chatting you want about the league there. Also, of course, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We're doing this every Saturday at 1 p.m. U.S. Central Time, 7 p.m. British Standard Time, I believe it is. And I will see you guys next week for the first part. I don't know how words work. I will see you guys next week for the beginning of the second half of the regular season. And speaking of that, I will give you guys your fight schedule as I close out. Thank you, everybody, for watching and for... your super chats and everything and your input. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next week.